Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you've become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. Have you ever found yourself overreacting and lashing out in anger when one of your kids made a mistake? For example, spilled milk on your laptop, made a mess, dropped your phone in the bathtub or on the ground and cracked the screen, scratched the car with the bicycle handle, broke something valuable or not valuable, just broke something, lost something important to you or one of your items. Have you ever considered that maybe your kids are afraid to tell you the truth because of your reactions? And then that leads to more frustration of you knowing that they're lying, and it creates this big cycle, you feeling really triggered, really angry, and then reacting poorly. So let's unpack this in this podcast episode. I want to talk about our responses and how to respond positively when your child is in trouble and did something that was a big mistake and they can't go back and undo it. It's already done. So I had a recent example with one of my boys. So one of my boys last weekend took one of those adult male watches that, you click a button and it expands the watch strap, but it's still all connected, right? It's not like it doesn't actually come apart. So he took one of those watches and, boys, they have all these funny ideas. He put it around our dog's head, and we have a Pomeranian, so it's a pretty small dog, but he's about 15 pounds. And so he put it around the dog's neck and then he could not take it off. So he tried himself and he couldn't do it. And then he came to me and I tried to do it and I couldn't do it. My oldest son, who's 13, tried to do it and couldn't do it. And so my husband was outside mowing the yard. I said, well, okay, when dad comes in, tell dad about it. And maybe dad has some ideas how we can take it off. The dog was not in pain or anything. We couldn't pull it back off around his head. That was the problem. Anyways, my son felt afraid to tell his dad, even though my husband is pretty chill. He's not the one to overreact, to lash out in anger or rage, not at all. Even though he's pretty chill with things like this, my son, who was 10 years old, still felt very uncomfortable and afraid to tell his dad what happened because he did not want to be in trouble. And so I coached him through it and I walked him through the process. And he said, I just don't want dad to feel upset at me. I don't want him to feel mad. And I walked him through the feeling of facing your own mistakes, and then you need to own up about it and you need to take responsibility for it. And it was so hard for him, and it was so hard for him. Still, he was feeling really extremely uncomfortable to tell the truth because he was afraid of the consequences and the reaction. So I'm not here to tell you how to parent or what to do with your when your child lies or makes a big mistake. That is on you. You get to decide that. But what I want to tell you is I'm going to give you some mentorship how to stay calm when you know your child did something that feels really upsetting to you, that they made a big mistake. Like, again, examples like scratched the side of your car with the handle of the bicycle when you've told them many times not to ride the bicycle next to the car. Spilled juice on the couch when you've told them many times not to take juice and no drinking in the living room. They can only drink in the kitchen, things like that. And now you feel really, really frustrated and extremely upset about something that happened like this. So let's say your child comes to you and you already know they did it, or you don't, and you saw the scratch on the car, you saw the spilled juice on the couch, and you say, hey, who did this? And nobody's acknowledging it, right? Because they feel scared. They don't want to tell you. Anyways, the first step in how to deal with this, acknowledge the fact that you feel frustrated, and it makes sense why you feel frustrated. Let's say you've told your kids not to ride the bicycle next to the car because you knew that their bike is going to scratch the car, and then they did it and it scratched the car. It makes sense why you feel frustrated because, first of all, you've told them not to do it. You knew it's a possibility it could happen, right? And they chose not to listen. And now you have every right to feel upset. And you can still stay calm. You don't have to overreact. You have every right to feel upset because this is something that's important to you. For example, again, if you told them not to drink milk or juice in the living room and they did, and now they spilled it on the couch, and it's a nice brand new couch that is soft material. It's not leather or anything. And so it like soaked it in and left a mark. It makes sense why you feel upset. So first, step one is acknowledging it makes sense where you are at right now, why you feel frustrated and why you feel upset. So just validating your perspective. Man, this feels really frustrating. And it makes sense why. I've told him not to do it and he still did it. And I feel so frustrated about this. You can literally say that to yourself out loud and you can still stay calm, okay? You can still make a good choice even when you feel frustrated. Step two is to get in your child's shoes. What is it like for them right now in this moment? That fear they are experiencing of getting into trouble. What is it like for them in that moment? And that is going to help you have a little bit more compassion and help you handle things a little bit better in that moment when you consider what it's like for your child when they were told not to do something and they still did it and now they messed up. And what is it like for them in that moment? And step three is be the safe space for them to tell the truth. And this is how you do it. You be curious. Anger and curiosity cannot coexist. They do not go hand in hand. So you ask questions. You are curious about the circumstance. Hey, bud, can you tell me what happened? I know I've told you guys not to ride the bicycle next to the car, and now I see a scratch, which means somebody did it. Can you please tell me what happened? Be curious. If you stay calm and grounded, if you're not overreacting, if you're not raising your voice, if your tone is soft, your kids feel safer to tell you the truth. They're a lot more likely to tell you the truth. Now, you cannot make them tell you the truth because you cannot control your child in that way. But chances are they're a lot more likely to tell you the truth if you come across as a safe person who is not overreacting. And curiosity is the way to do it. Anger and curiosity cannot coexist. When you're curious about what happened, you're not feeling furious and angry about it. And here's the fourth step. If your child did admit that this is what they did, that yes, they took the juice and they spilled it on the couch. Yes, they rode the bicycle and they scratched the car. Here's the perspective in that moment, what you tell yourself to stay calm instead of getting extremely upset about it. And the phrase that you say to yourself is, I've done that too. Chances are you've done something similar in the past as a kid or as an adult, and you've made a mistake similar to that. I've done that too. That really humbles us really quickly. Yes, our kids will do a lot of frustrating things. They will do things that we've told them not to do. My kids have done that many times. And it feels even more frustrating when you know that they possibly could damage something, lose something, break something. And now they chose to disobey, and that consequence or that thing that you thought was going to happen did happen. And now it feels very, very frustrating. You get to decide whatever consequences you do with your child, but I will recommend, this is my recommendation for you, whatever consequence you decide to do, take a minute to calm down before you decide what the consequence is going to be. And you can say to your child, I feel really upset right now. I've told you multiple times not to do this because I was afraid this was going to happen, and it did. And right now I feel really frustrated and really mad about the circumstance, and I need some time to calm down and figure out what the consequences are going to be. Because if you try to throw consequences out in the heat of the moment, your thinking brain is offline and you're going to over exaggerate and you're going to say something that is extreme and maybe something you will not be able to stick with and you don't mean. Okay. So you can still give consequences. You can still parent. I'm not telling you not to parent. What I'm giving you guidance and mentorship on right now in this moment is how to stay calm in the moment, what you can choose to think, and how that is going to affect your response. Okay. So step one is acknowledging that what just happened, it feels really frustrating, and it makes sense why. Because you've told your child not to do it, because this couch, costs a lot of money, because this is a brand new car, and you've told your kids not to do XYZ and they still did it. It makes sense why you feel frustrated. Now, step two is get in their shoes. What is it like for them right now, knowing that they did something they shouldn't have done? That's going to allow you to have some compassion instead of being fueled by that frustration. Step three is be that safe space for them to tell the truth, and that comes with curiosity. Be curious. Take a breath and be curious about what happened. Instead of, dude, what did you just do? Hey, bud, can you please tell me what happened? I wonder what happened. Can you please tell me about it? I'm curious. And step four is the perspective that you can choose when your child did admit that they did XYZ, or maybe they're not admitting it. Either way, the perspective, I've done that too. And you can even say that to your kiddo. You can still give consequences, but I know it feels really scary to tell the truth. and you still chose to do that. I just want to let you know that I've done something similar like that in the past when I was a kid. I've done that too. First of all, that helps your child feel more safe to tell you the truth, and it helps you stay de-escalated and not so emotionally fired up, because it reminds you like, hey, I've done mistakes too. We all make mistakes. So my friend, if you find yourself constantly overreacting with your kids and you're screaming, yelling, lashing out, maybe even physically hurting them because you feel so mad in the heat of the moment, here is a practical way for you to respond positively. I want you to journal. In a journal, take some time every day for 5 minutes. And I have all my clients do that. Do a little movie script in a journal, what you're going to think, say, and do next time your child does XYZ. When my son does XYZ, I will blank. What are you going to think? What are you going to say? And what are you going to do? You're going to acknowledge that you feel frustrated and it makes sense. You're going to see the things from their perspective. You're going to be curious and be that safe place for them to tell the truth. And you're going to have that perspective. I've done that too. So those are the 4 steps, and you can journal through that and journal that for 5 minutes for 2 weeks straight. And you are going to rewire your brain to be able to respond instead of react in a similar situation like that. So that's like a practical thing that you can do starting today to be able to change your reactions. In the book, Triggers, that I gift my clients that sign up to work with me, there's a book called Triggers by Amber, Leah, and Wendy Speak. They have a phrase in there that I really like, and it says, figure out what you mean to say before you say something mean. So that's kind of like that practice mental rehearsal that we do on paper in that journal prompt. That's what I'm talking about when figure out what you mean to say before you say something mean. So we practice ahead of time when you're in a good state of mind, when you're not feeling frustrated, when you're not feeling angry, teaching your brain what you're going to think, say, and do next time your child messes up, maybe the next time your child lies, whatever it might be. So my friend, if you're listening to this podcast episode and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is me. My kids lie to me, and now I can see why, because they don't feel safe telling me the truth, because I constantly overreact. I bark at them all the time. I lash out and rage. I hurt them physically. And then I am filled with remorse and shame. Like I just want to die. I don't want anyone to ever hear or see the way that I treat my kids. I'm afraid my kids might get taken away from me because of the way that I treat them. I'm afraid they will never want to come home as adults because of the way that I treat them. I want to tell you that there is hope for you. There is hope for transformation. I'm going to read to you a message that one of my clients submitted to me the other day. And I asked her how her day went with the kids. She's a couple months in my program, and she has 2 little girls, and she came in struggling with a lot of rage, resentment, bitterness, and reactivity. And she said this, we actually had a really nice, peaceful, and playful evening. I started their transition time a lot earlier, which meant more time for them to run around and let out their energy before bed. I also talked to my oldest about staying in bed ahead of time and set the expectations, but I was mentally prepared to wake up just in case, because our kids come out of bed constantly and in the evenings, and that was a big trigger for her. Today, I set up the pool, and I will be going into the evening with a playful spirit again. It's really not like me at all, but they are really receptive to it. And it's just so sweet to hear my clients that have made so much progress in the coaching program that they can redirect, they can choose to have a playful spirit with their kids. They can find creative ways to adjust their expectations, and so they don't feel so frustrated and reactive with their kids. So I just wanted to read that to you and share with you that there is hope for transformation. My coaching program is 100% money back guarantee. You either get results or you get a full refund at week 12. The name of the coaching program is Calm Christian Mom. And the first step before you enroll into the coaching program right now this summer, I'm offering Calm Mama strategy session. So on the strategy session, we are going to dig a little bit deeper to figure out what is the root of your anger and reactivity, because there's multiple things that it stems from, and give you some actionable steps that you can start taking today to start implementing positive changes. And if we both see that there's more deeper work to be done, I can share with you about my Calm Christian Mom coaching program. The link is in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. My friend, I cannot wait to connect with you. I'm so thankful that you are here. Until next time. Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.